Motility means how do they move? So with motility, there can be a number of different ways. And two of these, maybe all of these, we've talked about in the past, but with protists, they are capable of moving at some time during their life cycle. So we're going to talk about how they actually do that. Now, when it says that they can move sometime during their life cycle, it doesn't mean they're all moving as an adult. If you think about seaweed, the seaweed is not moving as an adult because it's actually fixed to the bottom of the ocean floor. But there are periods in the early stages of the seaweed in which they are capable of motility. Now, the type of movement is either going to be flagella, cilia, or pseudopodia. So let's take these one at a time. Flagella, we've been used to this. We know that bacteria actually move by means of flagella. So there's going to be less than 10 altogether. And they're the very long whip-like structures. They're made of protein, and they act very much like a bullwhip. So as they whip their flagella, they're capable of moving either in a forward or backward direction. Now, there's going to be reasons that these protists have to be able to move. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but I'm going to go over them. First of all, they need to move to get towards a food source. Some of these are not capable of getting food to them, and they have to go to the food. So in order to get food, they're going to have to move. Another reason that they have to move is to find a mate. Now, we'll go over reproduction here in just a minute, but the ones that are capable of sexual reproduction, there has to be a means in which the egg and the sperm meet. So that's another reason for movement. And then finding shelter, that's going to be your third reason. So there's three reasons for movement: to look for food, to find a mate, and to seek shelter. A lot of these are have predators that feed upon them, and they need to get away. Also, if there is a chemical, if you have got a Protista disease and you're taking, let's say, an antiflagellate for that protist, then it's going to naturally move away from that chemical. That's actually called chemotaxis. You probably want to write that down. Chemotaxis. And that's a very important type of movement for these protists. Cilia. Cilia is made out of the same kind of protein, although there's hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds, and they're very, very short. And they line the outside of the outer covering of the protist, and they beat back and forth. And as they beat back and forth, they can propel themselves in that type of movement. Now, the last is pseudopodia, and this is the way amoeba move. So amoeba is going to be one of our single-celled protists that moves by means of a pseudopod. Pseudo means fake, and podia means foot. So this is actually a fake foot, and what the amoeba does is it extends the cell membrane outward into what looks like a foot, and then the cytoplasm from the rest of the amoeba streams into that foot, and then the whole amoeba move in that manner, sort of like an inchworm would move. So they extend their cytoplasm. I think of the blob all the time. I've probably talked about that before. But the cytoplasm streams into this foot, and that's what makes the whole organism move forward. So amoeba have a very different shape, and they're constantly extending their cell membrane outward in order for this cytoplasm to stream into that foot and propel them forward. So they move by means of a pseudopod, but it's also called cytoplasmic streaming because the cytoplasm streams into that fake foot and moves them forward. So if I ask you, what do they move with, you would say a pseudopod. If I ask you what kind of movement is, it's called cytoplasmic streaming.